Welcome to our spine-chilling world, where we unravel the creepiest high school stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. If you're ready to brave the scariest halls in education, be sure to subscribe and hit that like button to follow each terrifying tale that unfolds. Gather round, fearless friends, as our haunted high school horrors commence. Yo, so this is like the craziest thing that ever happened to me. I just had to tell someone about it, you know. I never believed in any paranormal stuff, but this really messed me up. So listen up. It all began when I moved to this town and joined a new high school. Everyone seemed cool, and my teachers were nice, or whatever. After my first few classes, they assigned me this locker that nobody had used for like ages. It was freaking old, man. Like straight out of a horror movie or something. Anyhow, the locker was in a dark, creepy hallway, away from all the happy students and stuff. I got a weird feeling just by looking at it, but I'm not a sissy, so I just went with it. But every time I used that locker, something just felt off, you know? So a couple of weeks in, weird stuff started happening. I mean, real crazy stuff. My books would randomly fall on the floor when I opened my locker, or sometimes I'd find them opened up on a random page, like someone had been reading them. I thought maybe it was my new friends playing pranks, but none of them had access to my locker, so it just started freaking me out. Anyways, I was trying to shrug it off like nothing was up, until one day after school I saw this dude talking to one of the janitors. He kinda seemed suspicious, so I went over to say hi and maybe get some hot gossip about the spooky locker. Turns out he was a paranormal investigator. Yeah, you read that right, a freaking paranormal investigator. He asked me all kinds of questions about my locker, like if I ever experienced any unusual stuff or if there were any stories about it. I started to tell him about the books falling out and all, but he just nodded and looked all serious. He then told me that he'd heard about my locker and that there was a whole freaking history behind it. He said that the locker belonged to a student who went missing a long time ago. People had no idea what happened to this kid, and the locker was left unused out of respect or something like that. This investigator guy had been hiring himself out to different cases and reading through some old newspapers about the mystery. So he eventually found the truth. Apparently, the missing student had a nasty encounter with some violent people, and it ended real bad, like dead and hidden in the locker type bad. Well, obviously I freaked out. I was using a freaking haunted locker, man. But the thing is, no one ever found the body, and that story was never properly confirmed. It was just something the investigator had heard, and so he couldn't give me any solid answers. But man, after hearing that, I couldn't get the story out of my head. That locker had become like a magnet for my nightmares. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't focus on my classes, nothing. It was all about that freaking locker. Eventually, I just decided to put an end to this mess. I talked to the principal and asked to switch lockers. He was kinda annoyed and asked me why, and I just blurted the whole thing out. I don't know what he thought I was gonna say, but I could see his face change when I mentioned the investigator, the previous locker owner, and all that supernatural stuff. But yeah, he finally let me switch lockers, and man, the new locker was like a freaking heaven. I could finally relax and forget about all this stuff, so I made my way back to normal life. But still, I couldn't completely shake off the feeling that I was being watched or followed. Like, sometimes, when I saw an empty, dark hallway, I'd feel like something was there, you know? So I thought I'd just tell my freaking story and hope that whoever reads this will believe it. 'Cause man, this stuff is real. It's out there. I don't know what happened to that missing student or that creepy locker, but it sure left a big impact on me. And that's my story, dude. Don't forget, spooky stuff does happen in this world, even in high schools. So if you ever see a creepy-looking locker no one's using, maybe do yourself a favor and just, stay away from it, you know? Hey, so I gotta tell you something that happened to me. And man, it was the freaking scariest time of my life. I'm not kidding. It still haunts me to this day. So just hear me out, okay? So I'm that quiet kid in school. I mostly keep to myself and stay out of drama, you know? But that all changed when I started getting these creepy notes. It started out innocent enough, just some random words or drawings on little folded up pieces of paper that someone would slip into my books or my locker. Whoever wrote them had a weird style, but I kinda shrugged it off. But as time went on, these notes started getting weirder and weirder. I'd get stuff like, "We see you," or "You have been chosen." And I was like, what the hell is going on? I didn't have any enemies or nothing, so I had no idea who'd be doing this. Then one day, during lunch, I found a note shoved into the crevice of my table that said, "Meet us tonight at the old basement." You know the one. I had no idea what basement they were talking about, but it freaked me out. I attempted to disregard it and continue with my day. However, it persistently occupied my thoughts. I mentioned it to my friend, who's been super supportive the whole time. As we talked, she said that maybe the note was about the abandoned room in the school basement that was rumored to be where the janitors stored all the old, broken stuff. We figured that I should at least take a look and finally put an end to these creepy notes. So, that night, my friend had my back and went with me to check out the basement. I mean, 2 sets of eyes would be better, right? We were both scared, but at least I wasn't alone. When we reached the old room, my heart was pounding in my chest like crazy. My friend must have been scared too, but we didn't show it. We stood there trying to find the courage to open the door. When we finally did, at first we didn't see anything but piles of junk and darkness. We thought maybe it was empty, and we were about to leave, when suddenly we heard whispers in the back of the room. What we witnessed astounded us immensely. A gathering of individuals dressed in black robes and hoods, donning peculiar masks and collectively reciting chants, like some sort of creepy cult or something. When they noticed us, they stopped what they were doing. One of the hooded figures stepped forward and told us that they had been watching us for a while now, and they thought we'd fit right in with their little group. They said they were ready to accept us into their ranks, and that's when they opened their arms like they were gonna grab us. We freaked out and ran like hell out of that room, not looking back. I think they chased us at first, but they didn't try too hard to catch us. It was like they wanted to see how we'd react. After escaping, we eventually told the school authorities about what happened. No one really believed us, of course. I mean, who would? To be honest, they probably thought we were making it all up or something. But we knew what we saw, and we knew how real it was. We tried to warn people, but no one ever really took us seriously. It was like our own personal horror movie happening in real life. Days turned into weeks, and the creepy notes stopped. The school never found any evidence of what we'd seen, and everything went back to normal. Well, sort of. We couldn't forget what happened, and the fear never went away completely. We became a bit more paranoid, and our friendship had changed a little as well. We were still close, but there was this shared secret between us that made us kind of protective of each other. Sometimes I still wonder what would have happened if we joined that cult. But then I remind myself that I need to stay strong and just move on, 'cause there will always be some creepy stuff going down, and you never know when it's gonna happen to you. Just gotta keep your head up and deal with it when it does. So that's my story, and I hope you take it seriously. Don't ever let your guard down or think you're alone in the darkness. Keep your friends and family close, because they'll always have your back when the creepiest stuff starts happening. Remember to always stay vigilant. You never know when weird stuff is gonna start up in school, or anywhere really. Yo, so I never thought I'd have to tell this story to anyone. But it's too crazy not to share, you know? This all started when I was just sitting on the bus, minding my own business. I had no idea that my life was about to change forever. One day after school, a bunch of us got on the bus as we normally did. At first, the ride seemed normal like any other day, but then things got real weird. The bus started to drive down a road none of us recognized, and the world outside the windows started to change somehow, like we were driving through some freaky tunnel or something. It took a while for us to notice, but when we did, we started to get super scared. We couldn't see any familiar landmarks or streets. and it was like we were in a completely different world, but we had no idea what to do. So we just stayed on the bus, hoping the driver would turn around or something. When the bus finally stopped, we found ourselves in front of a building that looked like our high school, only it was old and decayed, like it had been abandoned for years. Our bus driver, a guy we'd never seen before, just motioned to the door like we were supposed to go inside, so we did. Man, that school was creepy. It was dark and damp, and every step we took echoed through the empty hallways. It was like we were in some sort of freaky alternate reality or something. We stuck together, trying to figure out how to get back home. As we explored the school, we found out that it was populated by ghostly images of students and teachers, like memories of what had once been there. We tried to talk to them, but they didn't even notice us, just going about their business like we were the invisible ones. It was seriously freaky, you know. We knew we couldn't stay there forever, so we started brainstorming on how to get back to our world. One of the kids, a real smart guy, suggested that maybe something was up with the driver. Maybe he was some sort of ghost or something, and he accidentally or deliberately took us to this weird place. We all agreed that the driver was our best shot at finding some answers. So we came up with a plan to confront him and force him to take us back to where we belonged. We just had to make sure we stuck together, and while there was safety in numbers, we knew that it was all on us. As we approached the bus, we saw the driver still sitting in his seat, and we knew it was now or never. We walked up to him and demanded to know what was going on, and the guy just looked at us like we were nuts. He denied everything and said he had no idea what we were talking about, but we didn't give up. One braver student grabbed the driver's arm, and guess what? His freaking hand went right through him like he was a ghost. I can't even describe how freaked out we all were. The driver looked stunned, like he didn't know he was a ghost either, and then he just vanished, like poof, gone. After he disappeared, the bus started to shake, and it was like we were being transported back through that freaky tunnel to our own world. Finally, the bus came to a stop back in front of our normal school, and we quickly got off before anything else weird happened. Somehow, everything went back to normal after that. No one ever found out about the creepy bus driver, the Ghost World High School, or the teacher and students who were trapped there. We kept our little secret, knowing that we'd done something amazing together. But I'm telling you my story in hopes that you'll believe me and keep your eyes open for the weird stuff in this world. 'Cause you never know when you'll be the one sitting on a bus that takes you to a freaky alternate dimension or something. Just be ready for anything, and be on the lookout for signs that things might not be what they seem. And remember, there's always strength in numbers. Stick together, and you can face anything this crazy world throws at you. Thank you for sticking around and listening to this spine-chilling tale. As we're still experimenting with this format, we'd truly appreciate your valuable feedback. Please let us know your thoughts by hitting the like button, subscribing to our channel, and sharing your opinions in the comments section below. Tell us what you enjoyed and what didn't quite work for you. We're eager to know what type of scary story you'd like to hear next, so feel free to drop your suggestions and upvote the ones you find most intriguing. Remember, we craft these eerie tales based on your requests, so don't hesitate to share your ideas with us. Happy haunting!